this is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your daily horoscope and energy reading for Saturday. And on Saturday, we have a pretty special event. It is an event that Jupiter and Mars are going to align in the same exact degree. Now, they have been working very close together. They've been conjunct for a few days, but they're in the same exact degree. When you have two energies that work side by side like these two are going to be doing, they are going to set each other off. They are essentially two energies for the price of one. And so Mars is in Virgo, and it's a debilitated energy for it. It's not its highest vibration, and it makes you passionate about, getting healthy, setting up positive routines, refining your work routines, refining what you want to do in life, if that's what you're passionate about. It expands potential because Jupiter is in Virgo. So it's going to make you very intellectual and very critical about your situation, to fine-tune it, to expand the potential of the situation. So maybe details that you had glossed over before, you see at an elevated status when you have Jupiter like this, working with Mars. And then it makes you on fire about getting that particular situation under control and refined and fine-tuned. The flip side of it is if, let's say, you have a health issue that you have been ignoring for a very long time. Virgo energy is about mental well-being and physical well-being. And so if some of you have some really poor coping methods, some of you could feel an expansion of those issues. Or maybe you could have some severe anxiety that you finally understand that you need to go see somebody. It is out of control. Or maybe you have a health concern that comes up and it is just, there's no denying it at this point. You need to go get some medical attention about it. You could be diagnosed during this time frame of when it's aligned like this with a health condition that finally gets you to the point to where you understand what's going on with your health, and you can make some positive routines, and you can get on some healthy regimens to make sure that you can make the best out of this limiting health condition. So a lot can go on when it's like this. Jupiter will expand whatever it is. If it's good, it expands it. If it's bad, it expands it. So if some of you, and this has to do with routine. So if some of you have really poor coping methods, you could sabotage something. It could come out. It could be, if you're hiding something, there's no hiding it at this point because it is just clear. Now, at the same time that you have Mars and Jupiter aligning, it's also conjunct with Venus and Virgo, which is in a debilitated energy. So this is really testing relationship. This is really bending and bending the relationship's boundaries both ways to see where there are deficiencies, cracks, and it could lead to an eventual break. So today, some of you could literally feel like you need to break up with somebody because this person isn't right for you. You could reach that hypercritical stage where enough is enough, that there's a realization in some relationships and there's no going back because Jupiter will expand those critical areas. So a lot can happen today. I'm going to go through each sign. I'm not going to go through them highly in depth, but I am going to go through each sign, tell you where these energy sources are, give you a minor reading, because I'm trying to only do one feature film a week, just because it's a lot of my time to do these. But this is such an important alignment that I think I should cover it. So stay tuned and I'll tell you how this is going to affect you and your sun, moon, and rising sign. Hi Aries, this is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your energetic reading for Mars and Jupiter aligning in the same exact degree. And for you, all of this is going to be happening in your 6th house. So I really want you to be aware of the fact that you are going to get some very big signals from the universe about your routines, your work routines, your mental health routines, and your physical routines. For you, both Mars and Jupiter are going to be squaring off with the moon in Sagittarius and opposing Neptune and Pisces. And this is going to have to do with really facing the reality of some situations, and it could cause a little chaos in your life. Now, I think for most of you, you're at the point where you're trying to make some very powerful decisions. These decisions are moving forward decisions, and you know, the reality of the situation can cause anxiety, because when you're making these forward movements, it can cause you to be a little bit imbalanced. So some of you may experience panic, anxiety, you may, to a grand scale, or you may feel overwhelmed all of a sudden, and just generally that you've got to change something, and you got to change it now. You're going to feel a sense of urgency to change something, and make it better. So that's all good. That's that opposition. You're also going to be caught in this moon energy in Sagittarius, really broadening your perspective. So today's a day where I would be very selfish with my time. I would seek somebody that's very close to you, that's separate from the situation that you're involved in, especially if it's a work issue. I wouldn't really confide in people in work. I would confide in somebody very close to you that can help you get a handle on all of this. It could have to do with the fact that your home life and your work life is in imbalance, or maybe there's an issue with health with children, or maybe there's just an issue with your health that you're worried about it affecting your children in the long run. So I think you understand that there are some routines that need to change so that you can, you know, start to evolve and transform these situations. Thank you so much for watching Annette's Astrology Corner, and I look forward to talking to you guys again on the next astrological event. Hi Taurus, this is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your energetic reading for Mars and Jupiter in aligning today. And all of this is going to be happening in your 5th house. And for you, that 5th house represents, in everybody, it represents romance, creativity, and pleasure. So, okay, so Jupiter and Mars are in Virgo, so that suggests that we're really focusing a lot on our routines. And for you, this could be routines in how you passionately pursue romance, a creative endeavor, or how you pleasure seek. Now, immediately when I did this reading, I immediately picked up energetically that you are having one hell of a time with an ego conflict right now. And this has to do with, more than likely, either something you're completely passionate about creatively, or I want to say that it has to do with a significant relationship. Now, at the same time Mars and Jupiter are in a line, Venus is conjuncting the same energy. Now, Venus represents partnerships, unions, work partnerships, but it also represents partnerships, right? And we're just getting out of that whole new moon experience in Libra. So to me, I'm feeling that you are being challenged. Challenged by somebody very significant to you to change some routines, and this is causing you a lot of conflict. And this could be something that you have fought numerous times about, and you are trying to get a hold of it. But again, you are an energy source that really likes time, and you like to process it kind of in your own way. And you have a lot to offer, but I think that somebody is just not validating it. So you're feeling a little bit defeated in it. Okay, so Venus, when this event is happening, is going to be squaring off with Virgo energy, which is conjunct Jupiter and Mars. And which this suggests to me that there's something that you or somebody significant to you needs to get control of. It is reaching a very critical point. You either that person has had it with you, or you've had it, And it's coming down to, let's talk about how to resolve this situation. And I believe that what is standing in the way from making this big decision that you have to make, which you feel very challenged to make at this point, I think some of it has to do with timing. I think some of it has to do with what you inevitably see. You don't see a peaceful resolution to this situation, which is causing you a lot of anxiety and stress. And it's almost like you're wanting to avoid it. It's like you have all the knowledge before you to make the decision, but you're avoiding it because you're still holding on to one teeny glimmer that you can turn the situation around. All of these energies, Venus, Jupiter, and Mars, are opposing Neptune and Pisces and trining Pluto and Capricorn, which suggests to me that you are not budging in your stance on this. When you have Pluto and Capricorn trining anything, that means your ego is very firm about that particular point. You see a vision, you see an outcome, and you're not budging on it. And that could be because you're just being stubborn, a stubborn Taurus, and you're not willing to yield to the situation. Or it could mean that you've given this situation so many chances that you're done yielding, and it's either, piss or get off the pot type of mentality. But I think a lot happened right around the eclipses in September that have really started to make this come to a head. But I really believe that it's getting to the point to where you're not feeling a whole lot of pleasure from this situation, and it's just reaching that critical point, because Jupiter can expand anything it touches. And right now it's in Virgo, so it's in very critical energy. Now, it could make you so critical, and it could problem solve something out and expand a creative process for you to turn all these energies around, and that's highly possible. Or it can expand a crack and make it a huge, irreversible break. So you got to be careful how you deal with it. Also, if Mars is involved in this and you are reaching a critical point and you are done with the situation, and it's been fighting words for a while, you could just go off half-cocked and kick a little ass during this time of alignment. So just be forewarned that anytime we're thinking at this level, when all the emotions are heightened like this, and you have some energies pulling you into negative vibration, you could get a negative result from this alignment. So just be very, very careful that you stay in the high vibration of all of these energies. If you're reaching a critical point, please, I would warn you not to talk on this day. It can bring that to a critical point, but deal with it a different day, because if you deal with it today, I just strongly feel like ego is going to make this somewhat combative, and you're very deeply impacted by this situation. Thank you guys so much for watching Annette's Astrology Corner, and I look forward to talking to you guys again on the next astrological event. Hi Geminis, this is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your energetic reading for Mars aligning with Jupiter. And for you, all of this is going to be happening in your 4th house, and your 4th house represents home, family, roots. Usually it can represent a mothering energy, nurturing energy for you. So for you, Mercury is in Libra, and it is in glorious sextile with Saturn. So Saturn is really removing obstacles and trying to make some of your hopes and dreams come true in partnerships. Or maybe negotiating a contract is going really well, or maybe maybe you're moving in and combining your life with somebody, and this is finally starting to work out. You're finally starting to get the progress that you need. This could mean that you get some wonderful, wonderful news having to do with a partner. It could be that somebody gets pregnant, and it's like finally you feel like you've been working hard to get that. That's the actual astrological side. I do see that Mercury in Libra is going to be squaring off with Pluto and Capricorn. So for some of you, you're getting really great news, right? This is a dualistic energy, and it is the energy of the twins. So some of you there's either the light part of the energy, or there's the dark part of the energy. And some of you are going to get some news that is very disappointing. It's very upsetting. And, or maybe you were talking about moving in with somebody, something disappointing happened, and you became disappointed that you didn't get what you wanted. And that maybe you guys were talking about moving in, but because of some of the things that had happened, you're not going to get that. So for a lot of you, I deeply feel this is where this is going to go. And the energetic reading part of this is, you know, for you to be emotionally fulfilled, there needs to be some big steps made in a major partnership of yours. And it needs to be, and you're looking for some particular news that you're hoping to hear that will kind of turn all of this energy around. And I feel that some of you may not get that, or there may be a delay that you don't want because somebody wants to go slower than you, or maybe you want to go slower than they do. Maybe somebody is asking you to partner and you're just like, I'm not freaking ready. Like, I'm not there yet. Like, I haven't completely made all of my decisions yet. And I deeply believe that that's where some of you are at. Some of you are at the point where there's a lot of good things going on, but there's some more stuff that you got to work through going on behind the scenes that I don't think somebody totally knows. I think there's an ending of a cycle, completion of a cycle, but for you, there's some loss that's associated with that. And it really has shook up your confidence and has really made you unable to make the decisions that somebody is expecting you to make. This definitely has to do with home and family. So maybe some of you, you know, really are trying to have a child, and maybe that's just not happening. Some of you may be getting great news. Some of you may be getting news that, you know, the child was the hope, right? And maybe some of you are getting news that, you know, you can't get pregnant. It's like you've been trying for a while, it's not happening, and maybe that's stressing you out. And maybe that's going to change the way that you eventually make a decision. And so I think that there is a big emphasis on regeneration and rebirth or birth. But I think right now there's an imbalance in a coping method that has been standing in a way for a very long time. Often your guys' coping method is that you can't commit to this family, settle down, ball and chain, staying at home. Like, you kind of almost sometimes see that as an ending or a death. And you've got to let go of some of those processes, because maybe some of the people in your life are somebody that you can actually flourish with and move forward with and can really bring you the stability that you've been seeking. But maybe you're having a hard time letting go of the childlike enthusiasm that you have in you. It's like you're almost like, I feel like, I want to say it's like the child that never wants to grow up. It's kind of like the Peter Pan theory. And I think that it's coming down to decision-making time. Can you work within a parameter? Can you, is that coming together? And it has to do with a significant partnership. It could have to, I somehow I don't feel it's work related when we're talking about partnerships. I deeply feel that it has something to do with home, family, moving in, having children, settling down. And to me, this still can stem from something having to do with your childhood that you have had a hard time letting go of. And it hasn't painted the best picture of doing what somebody's asking you to do. So these are things to work out and work through. And there's a lot of progressive energy when you have Saturn in here. You've got Saturn in here. It's not a karmic relationship anymore. It's not obstacles that it's throwing up. It's trying to support your decisions for stability and broaden your perspectives in your life currently. You've been living in a very narrow-minded mindset for a very long time, and it's time to open yourself up to elevated thinking and remove yourself from just the classic linear thinking. So all in all, this is it's a challenging reading because there's a lot of energies that you have to turn around. But when you have Jupiter and Mars working together, they can expand anything it touches. So this could be you could be expanding in a critical way, meaning this is all reaching a critical point. It's coming down to actually making the decision. It's coming down to actually moving in with somebody. It's coming down to wanting to move in with that person, to want to start a family, and you're done paying for whatever happened in the past. And you're ready to just regenerate this and become emotionally fulfilled in it. And whatever it is causing you a lot of stress to eventually make this decision. Now, for the people that are in a good place with this energy, you know, this is nothing. Jupiter's going to go in and expand and make all of this stuff work out. You're going to become refined in this, and you're going to move in, and you're going to start to develop some positive coping methods with somebody really positive in your life that encourages you, thinks like you, and expands some of your positive routines. Thank you so much for watching Annette's Astrology Corner, and I look forward to talking to you guys again on the next astrological event. Hi Cancers, this is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your energetic reading for Mars aligning with Jupiter in Virgo, and at the same time it's going to be conjunct with Venus in Virgo. So lots of Virgo energy, and anytime we have Virgo energy, we're being very hypercritical about our closest partnerships, relationships, how we seek pleasure. For you, all of this is going to be happening in your third house. Third house is the house of communication. It's how you market yourself. It's the house of sales. You know, it's about your day-to-day thinking. And for you, there's a lot to think about. Now, I think some of you are feeling that Jupiter and Mars are asking a lot, and all this Virgo energy. Cancers really react to criticism in a little bit different way than most signs do. Most of them have the egos enough to it just bounces right off of them. Cancers deeply want to please and nurture and appease people. That's one of their main goals. And so whenever energy gets like this, and it's very hypercritical, that's very difficult for a Cancer to feel very confident in. There's a lot emotionally that you're dealing with. So some of you, I believe, that the critical energy is happening in your ego, and you're really trying to define yourself. Now, I like energy like this because it asks us, are we confident with ourselves? Are we in a good place with ourselves? You know, are we living an authentic life? Is our sun fully shining? And I want to believe that you guys are starting to turn a lot of this around. I think you're intellectually processing some of the ways that in the past you may have been carrying too much burden in your life and of everybody, and trying to make everybody happy. And I think that you are now able to start drawing some healthy boundaries. And that is because you're starting to understand that there's something really valuable about being a Cancer and about being who you are. I think you're starting to get very firm in your belief system, and you're starting to be able to stand strong. And that's really turning some of your relationships around in general. Now, some of the areas where you may be experiencing some expansion, and it may not feel genuinely good because Cancers don't like change. And so anytime energies ask us to make some really big changes in how we are, it causes a Cancer to kind of want to go in its shell and regress. And so I think part of this is just accepting that criticism helps. It's a gauge for where we're at. In fact, others are a gauge for where we're at. So if we're receiving a lot of criticism in a specific area, and others in our lives, significant others in our lives, are telling us that, then that really helps us understand how we need to work a little bit harder, refine some of our routines, but not let them steal your confidence and your emotional well-being. And so I think it's just a chance to maybe remove try to remove emotion, and thankfully we have the moon in Sagittarius asking us to do that. And we're going to try to find some balance, like meet in the middle with some of these requests that are being made and in the changes that we have to make. I think for the most part, there's a lot, you're evolving, and you're feeling the growing pains from that. And that can be some of the challenge. Some of the challenge is that you have some very high hopes and high expectations. And so you may be feeling a little bit, your ego may be getting the better of you, but I don't think it's in a terrible way. It's like you're able to put boundaries, stand up, and make some requests of people that you probably should have been making a long time ago. Now, pushback is inevitable when this happens, and that can cause you some discomfort when this happens, especially when we're talking about talking with people. I don't think these are going to feel very victorious when you're doing these, but these are powerful routines that you need to set in place that have been looming for a really long time, that you should have done to create healthy relationships and a healthy mental well-being. And so I really want you guys to just know that you're working really hard, and the work is starting to pay off. And the things that you are doing and the vision that you see right now, you're accurate. You're dead on. It's just getting all of that to align, and that's what Jupiter's going to start to go in and expand. So if you have a conversation about that and a conversation gets out of control and it becomes very ego-based, because it will, because, it's the moon in Sagittarius is trining Uranus, and you're going to become debatable, back away from that. It's not about being right. It's not about debating the situation. It's about stepping back, broadening your perspective on the situation, looking at the opposing opinion, seeing if it requires validation, and then assessing it thoroughly. And that's where Jupiter can go in and expand really, really positive things, and not make you super moody and withdrawn and want to retreat and all of that stuff that Cancers do. Thank you guys so much for watching Annette's Astrology Corner, and I look forward to talking to you guys again on the next astrological event. Hi dear Leos, this is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your energetic reading for Mars aligning with Jupiter today in the very same exact degree. At the same time, it's conjunct with Venus and Virgo. So that's a lot of Virgo energy. We have Virgo energy we're very critical about. We're very analytical about our lives. We're looking at things from an objective point of view. We're trying to fine tune them. We're trying to get organized. That's really that's the positive side of all of these energies. Unfortunately, when Mars and Venus are in Virgo, they're a debilitated energy. They're not working in their highest vibration. So sometimes these energies can pull at us and challenge some of our belief systems, which is really good because that sets up powerful routine, because Virgo represents routine. And so this is routine in work, home, this is your work, your mental well-being, and your physical well-being. And for you, all this is going to be going off in your second house. Now, it's time for you to take a look at the value that you have to give the world. Like, how do you equate your value? Are the others in your life valuing you, or are you attracting the wrong people? And so you are looking at everything and you're thinking, how can I increase my value? And I'm not just talking about monetarily, even though that is a factor. I'm also talking about from an emotional perspective. So today, the sun in Libra, very balanced, beautiful sun for you to tap into all that energy, is going to be in a lovely mood, and it is going to sextile the moon in Sagittarius. So this is light, airy energy. This is about pleasure seeking. This is about a good time. This is about partnerships. This is about broadening your perspective and looking at everything and getting some emotional fulfillment from this. And I think you're just going to be feeling energetically pretty darn good, pretty on point, pretty like I think you're going to feel like people are starting to value you, recognize you. You're starting to attract the right people that you feel that you should have been attracting. So Mars is going to go in here because you're at such a great point in your life, and it's going to start broadening your perspective and giving you, and Jupiter is going to give you a lot of opportunities. Now, the difficulty can be with this is that the Sun in Libra is going to oppose Uranus in Aries. Just don't get too big for your britches, okay? Just don't let your ego get too confident. I know you're back. I know you're feeling energetically a little better, and I know that you have a lot to give and you finally understand it, but I really want you to check your ego. I want you to stay in a state of balance. I want you to remember what it was like to not be where you are today, and you're going and be very, very sensitive to other people's vulnerabilities, and pay it forward, basically. I think you have some strong goals. I think you know what you want to give. You're really starting to set your expectations, but just be aware of your ego. Right? Beware of this good feeling, because it's good to feel good, but it's not good to get cocky. And I want you to, I know that looking back, you're feeling a little victorious. You have made several steps forward, but just remember to stay at peace with everything. Keep up the good work. Jupiter's going to go in here and start to expand some major opportunities. I think you're going to start to feel plugged in. I think that you are going to get some really, 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 really great news that's going to start to make all of this worth it. It's just such a beautiful energy for you. I really get a good reading. I really think that you have a really good support system that's going to start opening up opportunities for you. And I really think you're on point. So good job, Leos. Guys, like the best reading I've had so far anyway. Thank you so much for watching Annette's Astrology Corner, and I look forward to talking to you guys again on the next astrological event. Hi Virgos, this is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your energetic reading for Mars aligning with Jupiter. At the same time, it's conjunct with Venus in Virgo. So there is a lot of lovely buzzing around Virgo energy. Lots of getting organized, lots of refining routines, lots of critically analyzing everything, lots of really stimulating energy for you. And you have a lovely reading. This is going to be going on in your first house. So that's your personality. That's how you outwardly appear. When you guys see me on camera, what you see is my rising sign. That's my first house. And so that's what we're talking about. It's like how you outwardly appear to others, how others perceive you. And for you, how others are perceiving you are it's probably a little bit different than it has been. Others were perceiving you as overly critical and, just a complaining, you complained all the time. But I think others are starting to understand the value of Virgo energy, because we have the node shift into Virgo. And so there's a lot of energy. I think people can finally understand why you're so critical, why you spend so much time in an analysis of something, because everybody is feeling that energy. You're going to have a lot to talk about with people. You're going to have a lot in common with people. This is probably one of the first times that you've had in a really long time where I think you're going to start to energetically connect to people, and maybe so you don't have to hide anymore. I think the challenge is you guys are so used to working so much and not socially engaging because you were often misunderstood. And I believe all of that's turning around. Saturn is just loving on on Mercury in Libra. So it's a good time to sit down and have conversations. These conversations are going to be super intellectually stimulating. And they may broaden your perspectives on things. If you don't get too hung up at work and just want to work like a dog and just sit there in your little cubicle and process numbers all day, don't do that. Like, really get yourself out there and understand that you're at an end of a cycle. You're at a point of completion, right? things are going to energetically turn around for you. I do believe it. We have a lot of energy in opposition, and opposition is wonderful energy. I like opposing energy for you because that allows you to see two perspectives, 2 points of view, and you want to get both of those perspectives, you know, where they are meeting in the middle. And you're really good at that. You're really good at taking a look at energy like that. Now, I want to say that sometimes, you know, that can make you extremely hypersensitive and a little bit combative and overly opinionated. Beware of that, because Mars, Jupiter, and Venus, Virgo energy, all that Virgo energy, with Mars and Jupiter in alignment in Virgo energy, you're going to, I mean, you could get some reality checks from people that may not feel altogether great, but I think these are wonderful conversations to have, because somebody's going to tell you something about yourself where you hold yourself back that I think could really set things in a really positive direction. You have some really wonderful ideas you need to be bouncing off of people. It could open up some opportunities and some doors for you, but we're also talking about, I know that you like to rely a lot on just facts and the analytical side of the energy, but I really want to tell you that I really believe that there's something special about connecting on an emotional level with this energy. Now, during this time, Chiron, the wounded healer, is going to be stimulating a lot of Virgo energy. It really wants to go in, and it really wants to take care of some of these things for you. You have to invite this source in. You have to accept opposition. That opposition is going to be where you're going to need to be healed. And a lot of this is going to be going on behind the scenes, or when you sleep, or, in the deepest recesses of your mind. So if you're feeling at some point some fear, acknowledge the fear, own the fear. And most of you, this fear could be about moving forward. It could be about a new perspective or some news that you get that challenges where you're at. But I want to say that in the end, it's going to lead you to something that you can't possibly believe, because Jupiter is going to create some really expansive energy in Virgo and really get you out there. I do want to say something. If some of you are dealing with a Leo, or dealing with some Leo energy inside of yourself, that energy is really the wrong direction, I think, moving forward. I think you want to stay clear of the Leo energy for now. And that just could be because there's a little bit too much ego involved with the person that you're trying to deal with, and they're not listening to you. So I would move away from them for now. And I would concentrate on balance. Balance is a really, really, really big, beautiful key here. And that means for you, balancing your work life with your emotional needs. You often put those aside. So let that into your heart. Thank you guys so much for watching Annette's Astrology Corner, and I look forward to talking to you guys again on the next astrological event. Hi, dear Libras. This is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your energetic reading for Mars aligning with Jupiter. And for you, all of this is going to be happening in your 12th house. So Mars is in Virgo, Jupiter's in Virgo, and both of those are in the exact same degree. So when this happens, it means that if something makes you feel heart-based and very passionate, it is going to expand that issue, because Jupiter is a very expansive planet. It can add luck, but I think in Virgo energy, I think it's more on the conservative side of things. I don't think we're going to be dealing so much with the lucky side of Jupiter as the expansive side of it. So what can happen is if Jupiter, if you are in a good place, it can expand love, it can expand happiness, it can expand passion, it can expand opportunity. If you are in a bad place with the direction that you're going, if you're not totally ascending, or if you're continuing to make poor choices in your work routines, your physical routines, or your mental routines, or if you're falling back on old sabotaging routines, then I think you can fall into some of the negative sides of Jupiter, which means it expands flaws and makes them into giant crevices in your life. So for you, all of this is going to be happening in your 12th house. So this is the house of the unconscious realm. This is where you are dealing with a lot of deep-seated fears behind the scenes, or it may not even be something that you're consciously aware of. It may be something that comes out of the blue suddenly, and Jupiter starts to expand some of these fears that you have. And it could mean that this is just a psychological fear, right? And that it's something that you need to overcome, or it could mean that it was something that you had repressed and it is now coming forward. So for you, Venus in Virgo, your ruler, is going to be squaring off with Saturn in Sagittarius. So to me, this has something to do with the fact that you are, it's like you're trying to control your situation and not allow progression or expansion in your life. It's like you're trying to, it's like there are issues in your life that you're not acknowledging. And so what is happening is Mars and Jupiter are going in and expanding those critical areas. And Saturn is going to throw up an obstacle when it comes to a close partnership. And it is something that is a deep-rooted issue. Now, this could have something to do with the fact that, there's an imbalance in your life, right? An imbalance. It could be an imbalance in your health, right? It could be an imbalance with the work routine, or it could be imbalance with the fact that, you aren't acknowledging the fact that there's some mental sensitivities that you have and that need to be refined. I still think you want to gloss over some details. I mean, this has something to do with partnerships. There's been a lot of emphasis on partnerships for you and the 12th house. So there is some stuff that's been going on, or maybe perhaps cycles that you do in relationships where you take on the majority of the burden in a relationship because you want the idealistic look of it. And you usually get involved with people that are they have huge egos, and you deal a lot with the dark side of their egos. I want to say that for some of you, this has to do a lot with narcissistic relationships. Now, this could have to do with the fact that you're the narcissist in the relationship and you need everything to go your way, and you pick partners based on the fact that they can monetarily get you ahead. But then you go through this major balancing act of there's usually a mental imbalance in some way with this relationship. Or vice versa, you usually get involved with narcissists who really honestly control you like a puppet. And, you're done with these types of relationships. You're taking stands, you need to talk about your burdens, and, it's reaching a critical point. So depending on where you're at, I want to say that you're going to feel some expansion of issues regarding ego. So if you're involved with somebody who has a major ego problem, that is going to reach a critical point. They are going to be completely out of line, out of control. They don't have balance. This starts to flash you back to some of the predisposed issues you've been having in your past. And then this really makes you want to take a look at yourself and think, what do I do to cause this? Because this is in every relationship that I have. And so it's going to ask you to take a look at it. Now, I think for the majority of you, there's a idealistic picture involved of a family, or maybe you have the idealistic family picture, but there's just this imbalance that keeps standing in the way. I mean, your energy is off during this particular event. It's not in a line. And I think you may not even be conscious of it until these unconscious fears come out of nowhere that you're like, I don't understand. I thought I was happy and I'm not. And you're getting flashes of signals from the universe saying, pay attention to this, pay attention to this. You might want to critically take a look at this because this is imbalanced and, it's not fair to you. Or you could be dealing with an issue that has to do with some sort of legal issue. and that is really causing some fear in you, especially when it has to do with children. But there's a lot of emphasis for you to take a look at something. Really honestly, something is at an imbalance, and there is going to be a big obstacle that will then set forth a chain of events that will really start to expand some of these issues regarding your mental health. I want to say it's more toward mental health. I deeply feel it has something to do with your emotional well-being. I do. I don't know why. I just do. But anyhow, guys, take care of you. Don't let these energy sources get to you. When we have oppositions like that, I love opposition. Oppositions just mean, well, when Saturn squares us, then we start to experience opposition, and beautiful Chiron's in here wanting to heal some of these unconscious wounds you have, wanting to take some of the burdens off of your shoulder, wanting to help you move forward and create a stable outcome. But you have to live in balance to do that. You have to find your inner peace. And there's something unconscious that's just cluttering up your 12th house closet right now that you need to just get all taken care of. Thank you guys so much for watching Annette's Astrology Corner, and I look forward to talking to you guys again on the next astrological event. Dear Scorpios, this is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your energetic reading for Mars aligning with Jupiter in Virgo and conjunct with Venus in Virgo. So, woo! You have one heavy frackin' reading. I think this is probably the heaviest reading I've had so far. Not to mention, you have a lot of energy going on. A lot. So let's get started, because yours is probably going to be a little bit longer than most. So for you, all this stuff is going to be happening in your 11th house. The 11th house is the house of friendship, networking, and social media. So Mars and Virgo and Jupiter in Virgo, both in the same degree, act as one. So when one energy source gets set off, the other one does. Now, Mars is not in its most optimum energy. It feels a little off in this energy. And that is because it likes to push forward and be a fire-based energy and just rock everything. And in this energy source, it has to be a little bit more passive-aggressive. It's really hypercritical. So it can really expand in a good way your passion, or it really can expand in a bad way something you feel passionate about. So it depends on where you are energetically at. Now, both of these energy sources are in conjunct with Venus and Virgo, and so we're dealing with issues regarding love, partnerships, we're dealing with unions, contract negotiations, we're dealing with a lot. And again, we've got the planet of passion and Jupiter, the expansive planet, all working together. Now for you, there's a reality check that is opening up your awareness to a situation. And I think it's really honestly asking you to walk away from something and change it, and to empower yourself to do so. Chiron wants to go in here and expand healing in some of your routines. And I think a lot of this has to do with how you like to stay in control, and you like to be very guarded with friendships, and you often refuse socializing activities if you are energetically off, or if you're feeling particularly intense. And you're at a critical point where you are really changing something about your life, and forgiveness is a big thing that's in here, and moving forward. But you're moving forward very guarded. So there's still some routines that you do that really need to be transformed. Now, Pluto, your other ruler, is in Capricorn, and right now it's trining Venus in Virgo and Jupiter in Virgo. Now, anytime I see this, it means that either work is just going really well, and you're not really completely inspired to change any of your routines whatsoever, because really, honestly, you're not feeling the motivation behind it. You're not in opposition, you're not in square, and you're not in a quincunx. There's really no big need to change any of that. But there is some opposition with the reality of your situation, or the fact that I think that you were a lot in your head and now the reality is coming out, and I think you're willing to work through some of those issues. This is when Pluto in Capricorn is going to square off with Mercury in Libra and square off with Uranus in Aries. But it's going to trine Neptune in Pisces. Okay, so let's take a look at this. If some of you are trying to get out there, trying to move forward, you're trying to transform your life, you're trying to walk away from the darker energy sources and the poor coping methods that control you and those darker energy sources in your life, there is beautiful energy in healing, moving forward, transforming, regenerating that part of you, and looking at the lighter side of life, right? Some of you who have not felt that awakening in those areas, you're still defensive, you're still withdrawing, you're still holding back, you're still protective. There's going to be something that is going to start to expand the fact that you need to take a look at why. Where does it stem from? What part of you does it come from? And some friendships may be the key, or there may be a key that is in social media. Maybe you're scrolling through YouTube, and you're looking around and it's like, oh my God, that totally sounds like me. And it can set forth a powerful new thought process, and start to let Chiron go in there and take all these squares that you have and turn them into oppositions, and then let some healing begin. But I think you need to let your guard down. You need to start you need to take a look at the fact that everybody has fault, everybody makes mistakes, and people do want to really honestly make different decisions about their life. They've had a lot of introspection, and so have you, and you've been doing this for a very long time, withdrawing. It's time to go out there and make friends. It's time to get out into the world and stop being so withdrawn and into the darker energy. It's really good to be a Scorpio and see dark energy sources in people, but don't define them as a dark energy source if you see them. Sometimes that's your defense mechanism, is like you look at somebody and you're like, oh, I see darkness, I don't want to deal with them. So I'm just not going to. I'm going to just make everything happen for myself, and I'm going to stay guarded, and I'm going to refuse some offers. But I don't see why you do that. And I know that right now, energetically, you're not being pushed to make any big decisions, but you also have gorgeous Chiron in here, really, really wanting to work through some of these dark subconscious wounds that you have that really lay deep, very, very deep. And with all this trine energy, what you could do if you're feeling particularly ambitious is you could use all this trine energy that you're not having to deal with a lot of change in your life where you're needing to find control. You need to establish some control or gain some control in certain areas. Well, if you're really energetically connected, you're like, okay, I'm trining, I'm not dealing with anything hardcore. Maybe it's time for me to really, meditate and connect to my subconscious mind and really open some of those doors that are in there and go through some of the old boxes I've stuffed away and see and remove them and put them away. There's a big healing going on in your life, and there's a lot of beautiful energy supporting you, dear Scorpio, but you just need to let this happen. And I'm telling you right now, if you do this, this is you are at, when I see your readings, it's so strange. It's like you're at a level that I don't think a lot of us are at. I think a lot of us aspire to be where you are, but there's something special about where you are. And it's like you're energetic. It's like you're at the point where you're just connecting thoroughly to energy, and it's reaching you on a different level. And so it's not wanting you to pay as much attention to your actual physical reality as much as what goes on behind the scenes in your psychological thought processes, and to unshackle you from some of the limiting belief systems and the limiting behaviors that you have that hold you back from progressive movement, because you're being enlightened in a really cool way. Not a way that I totally understand, because I don't got a lot of Scorpio energy in me. So I wish I had more insight on this, but it's like something is special. I don't know what it is. I mean, I'm sure that you guys do, but I don't. I just know that you seem to have, be very blessed with all of this, the Chiron going in and wanting to, unlock you and regenerate you and create a completely different outcome. Now that you're not having obstacles thrown up in your face. Oh my God, you know what I think it might be? Sweets, I think it has to do with the fact that you spent so much time working with Saturn, and you've been released from Saturn, and you've been released from the hell that we experience here on Earth. And there's a reward for many of you that have done the really, really hard work in manifesting your new reality. Once we experience that 29th degree in Scorpio, I think it really sheds some skin for you. Some really itchy, uncomfortable skin. Woo, that's a cool, I don't know where that came from, but it's super cool. Great. I finally think I figured it out, because it's like every time I do an energetic reading for you, I'm like, why are you guys so special? Anyhow, thank you guys so much for watching Annette's Astrology Corner, and I look forward to talking to you guys again on the next astrological event. Hi Sagittarius, this is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your energetic reading for Mars aligning with Jupiter in the exact same degree. Now they've been aligned for a couple days, but this is in the exact degree that I'm going to be talking about. And at the same time, it's going to be conjunct with Venus in Virgo. So what does all this mean for you? Well, Jupiter, since Jupiter's involved, this means, woo, your ruler is in a mood. Now, Jupiter doesn't particularly like to be in this energy, doesn't like to be in critical Virgo energy. It's, it slows it down. It makes it think about ramifications. That's kind of not its deal. So it's going to expand issues like work routine, mental health routine, physical routine issues, and it's also going to make you very passionate about those issues. But it also has to do, because it's in conjunct with Venus, it's going to have to do with what Venus rules: pleasure, love, partnerships, unions. So there's a lot of energy going on asking you to take a look at things. Now, I'm getting a lovely reading for you. I think because most of the time you're just in opposition. And I dig opposition energy. And so do you. You like opposition. For the most part, you like it. Because that mentally engages your intelligent mind. You can't walk through life just trining around. If you start getting too trined, then you get bored, and then you start doing a whole bunch of crazy shit you shouldn't be doing. So what this is asking you to do is, take a look at things realistically in your life, and, how are they doing? Is it all going in the right direction? Now, gorgeous Chiron, the wounded healer, is in here asking the same question. So all of this stuff is going to be happening in your 10th house. That's your career, life path, destiny. And so how are you doing? I mean, are you going in the right direction? Is the things that you're passionately pursuing, and I want to say, and this is all around work, right? This is all around your purpose here on this planet. Is it going in the right direction? Is it supporting your ego? Is it intellectually stimulating you? Are you feeling full emotionally as well? Now, for some of you, I want to challenge you and say, that for the most part, you're not thinking a whole lot about it, because all these energies are trining Pluto and Capricorn. So I think for the most part, work is going well. And so there's no need to, to fix what's not broken, I guess is your thought process. But I want to say that there's a potential for more if Neptune is involved and Chiron in Pisces is involved. There's more, right? And Saturn is sitting in Sagittarius, and it's working to broaden you. It's to make you more open to a new mindset. So to me, although general life is going pretty darn smooth for you and there's not a whole lot of challenge asking you to change your routines, I want to say that there's more that you have the potential to be. And you got to tap into that energy. I think that for the most part, you guys are erring on the conservative side as far as with your career, life path, destiny, because it's like you're more interested in sustaining your ego and the monetary value of your life and moving forward. And there's just some stuff that you're working through as far as with family and with some past pain that kind of holds you back. So I think that your direction it's not, your career, life path, destiny is an area that I don't think you're fully focusing on because there's other things that are more important to you. And I think that in general, I want to say that that's a good idea, but to me, there's a calling for you to make a significant change and to really look at an area that you need to fine tune. I want to say that for some of you, this could be just some of your coping methods, right? When you're on your emotional downtime, when you are off doing whatever you're doing, saving the world, or engaging everybody in your purpose. I think that comes with a price, and it's a mental price. And I think that some of your closest relationships are talking to you about that. It's challenging your routines, your mental well-being routines when you get off work. I think work could be adding some unconscious stress as well that only your partner see, and then and they challenge the way that you cope with that stress. And so I think that that's something that you're going to want to take a look at. I think that, for the most part, I think that you have a lovely reading. I think this is a great alignment for you. It can expand some really positive things. The challenge when you're in trine energy is the fact that it doesn't motivate you to want to make big changes. And oppositions are oppositions, but they're not quincunxes and squares. And so you're a little bullheaded. So for you, there may not be a whole lot of motivation to do much of anything with this energy, but I love that when Chiron is in here, particularly asking you and working with Neptune and Pisces, it's asking you to open up your thought process. It's asking you to become more conscious of your environment and your receptive gifts as far as with energetically connecting to it. And there's something truly authentic that you're supposed to be doing, and that can get lost because you're doing something that is more ego-based. I'm not going to say that it's not going to work out for you. And, again, for me, I completely hear it's like you're not going to do anything about anything because, life, for the most part, you're getting what you want, and some people, when they get what they want, that's all they want. So, thank you guys so much for watching Annette's Astrology Corner. I look forward to talking to you guys again on the next astrological event. Hi Capricorns, this is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your energetic reading for Mars going into Jupiter in the same degree, exact degree. And it is in alignment with Venus and Virgo. So for you, your particular ruler is squaring off with Venus and Virgo. So that explains why I got this card. That is, something's going on in the heart and on a heart-based level. It could be on a creative level. It could be on something where it's challenging how you feel pleasure, but it also could be in a partnership. And so for you, I think what it's boiling down to is, see, all this stuff is going to be happening in your 9th house, and you have some big plans for the future, and it is challenging some of your old perspectives. I don't mind this, and I think that a love interest is that challenge. It is really good when we're such a fixed energy to have somebody come in and challenge our belief systems to really help us reach our maximum potential. I see that you are at a point in your life where you're energetically connecting enough with this significant partnership for some of the news that they give you, for you to listen to them and to validate the source that it's coming from. Sometimes you can get very direction oriented, and you don't validate the sources that are around you, and those people are arrows pointing you in a specific direction. You're wanting to put a bunch of passion back into your life, and I think that is really wonderful, but your passions are changing, right? Your passions are starting to evolve. It's not just about work, although work is a significant point in your life. It's about releasing some of the emotional burdens that have been caused through some of the challenges that we've been experiencing. You know, sometimes we get caught in our own mind, and you can't walk away from your mind. Your mind gives you flashes of things and insecurities and fears, and it causes you to sometimes lash out at the source that's closest to you, meaning your significant partnerships. And, you know, I see that actually it does happen a lot with Capricorns. And I just want you to know that if you have conversations, instead of working out of ego and working out of, working out of old belief systems, I think there's more to be learned from all of this than what you used to do. You've got to stay away from your ego, and you've got to find a way to find peace of mind. Balance is the key. It always is, and especially when we're talking about in conversations. If you validate the source that it's coming from, and you don't react out of ego, then you can have some wonderful, expansive conversations during this transit that can make you aware of some of the things you need to do to move forward, to balance out your life, meaning life-work balance, meaning, maybe some of you are going to school, and that school is, it's torturing you because, you're trying to get ahead. You are working really, really hard, and maybe if some of you are going to school, there's this goal that you want, and it's like that can almost be where you tend to lose it because you get too caught up in your mind and caught up in expectation. But this source, if you validate the love in your life, and if you really attach, some significant value to some of the people closest to you. And I want to say that you let go of some of the expectations of, social confirmation. The confirmation needs to come from a significant source in your life. I really believe that this is going to be a magical transit for you. It is going to open you up to some really deep belief systems that I think were challenged in the past and repressed by somebody in your life. And if you validate this source, I believe that it really adds some more depth to you than just somebody who's out there working like a worker bee, making money and, climbing the ladder. There's more to you than that. And this significant partnership that's in your life, whether it's a work relationship or whether it's a mentor, whether it's, you've partnered with somebody that you deeply and energetically connect to, there is just layers here that I see. There's the dark and there's the light layers that I think you can acknowledge in this energy source and really open yourself up and this relationship, bring this relationship much closer. You don't have to keep it at arm's length. You don't have to be defensive. They can know everything about you and you can feel accepted and loved. Even the dark sides of you. Open it all up and let them see you. Thank you guys so much for watching Annette's Astrology Corner, and I look forward to talking to you guys again on the next astrological event. Hi Aquarius, this is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is the energetic reading for Jupiter and Mars aligning, and for you, and this is in the same exact degree while in conjunct with Venus and Virgo. Now for you, since you have two rulers, it gets a little bit more complicated to do your readings, but all of this is going to be happening in the 8th house, which is a really complicated house to explain. So the 8th house is death, transformation, rebirth, regeneration. It's also intimacy. And you've been having the weirdest readings, the heaviest readings for me, and this one is of no exception, I don't feel. I feel it's a little bit better than the energies have been, so that makes me happy for you, but it definitely still feels like there's a tone to where you're at in life. So for you, Uranus, your ruler is in Aries, and this has to do with ego and defining, really redefining your ego, I think, when it's in retrograde like this. And it is trining the moon in Sagittarius. So this is all about empowering your mind to balance out the need for a new ego to be reborn. This is about letting go of old belief systems and letting your emotional barometer make some of your choices, which that can be very difficult for you being such a logical energy source. At the same time, the sun in Libra is going to oppose Uranus and Aries. So to me, this suggests an imbalance. And I did draw that, by the way. This is your blocked energy source imbalance. So, you know, there's a lot that you are worried about. And there's a lot that you're weighing out. And there's a lot of negotiating that you're having to do. And this can feel very combative and very annoying. And even though I feel deeply, you're actually right in this scenario, I feel like you're having to defend yourself to more than one person. And that's very frustrating to you because there's something that you feel very passionate about, but I don't think people are validating this powerful stand that you're taking. And so what that can cause you to have is a power struggle. It's either a power struggle with inside yourself, or it's a power, and I happen to think that it's a power struggle with others. There was an injustice, and, you know, it was difficult because you had to defend your position, and you had to defend it adamantly. Saturn in Sagittarius is going to be squaring off with Venus and Virgo. So this has to do with something that's heart-based, right? A creative endeavor, a partnership, more than likely, since you're doing so much work in yourself, 7th house. So I want to say that finding the balance side of this is very challenging. You're dealing with a mutable energy source that I think is really asking you to broaden your perspective on this subject and to really take a look at both sides of it. And that can be very difficult right now because you were so dead set on one particular outcome, which is completely normal. We all do it. But there's been a reality check, and I think you're starting to see that there's many things on the table right now that you're having to weigh out and you're having to take a look at. You're getting some emotional ground, although it's very minimal, and the outcome is starting to look a lot better. But I think that the passion for the situation is wavering, right? The passion that you feel having to deal with this day in and day out is wavering. And so I think you need to weigh out and make a decision that is how much power does this take away from you when you're dealing with this? I mean, how much challenge to your ego do you have to go through to make this situation be the idealistic outcome that you want? Because I think what you're starting to do is get an extreme reality check in the fact that if you make this outcome be what you have to be, you have to give up some of the things that you're very passionate about, and you have to back down from some of these stands that you are so adamantly fighting to be validated. So I think there's a lot of work that you need to do. There's some transformation that needs to happen. The transformation in this situation is going to be in the analytical start of it, meaning you're really going to have to take a look at balance. Do you remain in balance when you're in this situation? And is this challenging? I mean, are you constantly off balance in your ego and in your, and you feel, you don't feel empowered? You feel the opposite of that. So how can you remain in the situation, keep moving forward, keep the picture in your mind, but remain in balance and stay on top of all of this? It's very, very challenging. This is a very, very challenging reading for me. I feel that you are having to, there's a darker source of energy that you're dealing with, and that dark side of that energy really throws your balance off kilter. And I think for this to turn around, the person that you're dealing with, this significant partnership, or this person that you're involved in this creative endeavor, or this heart-based endeavor, possibly a child even, that you really need to be aware. Can you deal with the dark side of it? Can you deal with the fact that this is a person that's always going to challenge this side of you, challenge how empowered you stay in the relationship? Do you have to back down? Do you have to yield to some of the things that don't empower you? This is something you're going to be dealing with for a very long time. Can you keep the passion in it enough to want to move forward? You know, all of these energies are challenging our mental well-being, right? They're all in Virgo energy. And Jupiter is going to go in and expand these to critical levels, right? All of these issues to critical levels. So if you're in balance, it's going to expand the area that you are at an imbalance. And for you, since your passion is wavering, with Mars aligned with Jupiter, it's going to expand what's causing that issue, to remove the passion in your life for this situation to manifest. So expect Jupiter to come in and really expand the areas that you're being challenged in, to see if you can really take it. And if you can't, there are other opportunities out there. I believe that you're confused and there's still some foggy details that you've got to figure out. And that's really good, because you have Saturn and Sagittarius in sextile with Mercury and Libra. So I believe that there's something that you are going to come to an agreement on, but I don't know I don't know how you're going to identify with it. This is a journey all your own. Sorry, you guys, for this heavy reading, and I know you guys have been having heavy readings, but there's, anytime that we're challenged like this and we go through opposition, that just brings out the best in us. That brings out our strength. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and it is an absolute fact. I know. So keep it up, keep moving forward. If something comes up and some expansive thing happens, or I don't see it being health. I see it being mental well-being. So good luck to you guys. Thank you so much for watching Annette's Astrology Corner, and I look forward to talking to you guys again on the next astrological event. Hi Pisces, this is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your energetic reading for Jupiter and Mars aligned in the same exact degree, both conjunct with Venus and Virgo. So for you, all this is going to be happening in your 7th house. This is the house of partnership, marriage, and others. And Neptune in Pisces is being challenged by Saturn and this energy source. when energy is in challenge, it reduces it into a little bit of the lower vibration, sometimes for the best, right? But in this situation, what that does is create a lot of opposition with all of the energy sources that are in place. So opposition is just two energy sources that are here that kind of just want to meet in the middle. So this is about compromising in relationships. This is about if you are being ego-based, then, or somebody in your life is being too ego-based, this is about setting up and finding a way to stay empowered in this relationship. Now, some of you may have lost footing in previous relationships, which makes you somewhat guarded, and you've had very up and down relationships, and you've dealt with the ramifications of those. So at this point, walking into this relationship, you are very, very guarded. And it is about setting aside some of your ego, letting somebody in, stop holding back, stop being defensive. A lot of your energy is feeling very off in this reading. And although I know that you're making steps toward positive regeneration in some of these difficult areas, there is a sense that you are still holding on to some limiting belief systems that challenge the potential of this particular union, partnership, legal negotiation, and really, when you're guarded like this, it doesn't allow you to feel the magic that these relationships have to offer your life. So I really want you to get away from doing that, to holding back. I think some of you, this is almost like an innocent, childlike belief system. When you feel like this, it's like you feel as vulnerable as a child on the inside. Of course, you don't let anybody know that. You sit on your throne and everybody thinks that you're just a badass Pisces. But there's stuff going on. I want to say that it has to do with an air sign. So it could have to do with, and particularly the Libra or the Libra energy that's been going on when you've been combining and partnering and doing all of that. There's just, you're very guarded still. You're holding back. And, I think the challenge with this relationship that I feel is that you need to have your ego. You need to have your ego run the show. You identify yourself often with your partner, right? Who you partner with or your significant relationships in your life, and they often guide your choices. But I think the challenge is to move away from those limiting belief systems and to open yourself up to equality, complete equality in a relationship. And when you do that, I believe that this starts to remove some of the things that weigh you down and make you guarded and make you feel vulnerable in this relationship. Some of this could be having to do with combining resources. And, I think you want to be very protective of doing that and make sure that you will never sustain some of the financial impacts that you had before in previous partnerships. There's nothing wrong with that. You went through those karmic relationships to learn those lessons. But moving forward, I think some of it has to do with the fact that you rely on people almost in a codependent way to emotionally validate yourself. And I think you understand now that those are old belief systems. But redeveloping your ego and your identity is a challenge, and it's a lifelong pursuit. You are moving. It's almost like you're writing a whole new book about yourself, and you're redefining you. And when you're going through that, you're going to experiencing these squares and oppositions, but I think energetically you are feeling like you're finally getting what you want. Your foundation is It's finally starting to make sense. You're starting to feel empowered in your beliefs and in your core and in your ego. And I think moving forward, as you live more in reality and less in fantasy, you're starting to make your fantasy world similar to your current reality. And that is an empowering feeling for a sweet little Pisces. Thank you guys so much for watching Annette's Astrology Corner. I look forward to talking to you guys again on the next astrological event.